Alright guys, we're back. We're gonna go through and we're gonna do the Marvel quest. And like I said, I would do, here are the stats, here's the level, here are the items, and here are the quests that we have done. Now, there's actually one thing that you can see right here, the Ancient Stone Shard. The Ancient Stone Shard will actually sometimes get bugged. So if you log in and you see that you do not have it in your list, do not worry. For the record, if you go through and you do not have it showing you in your list, any of the different NCPs or quests that require you to have all 12 of your 12 Dark Secrets done will not function. After all of this is done, I will go through and show you how to go through and troubleshoot that and how to fix it. It was a common enough bug and it was a persistent enough bug that there is actually a fix for that employed in the server itself, and it can be done at any time once you have all 12 of your 12 Dark Secrets. Until you have all 12, there's no point in dealing with it, so it only functions at that point. But don't worry about it, it's not a big deal. You don't need a DM, you're okay. Alright, so without further ado, let's go ahead and go on and do Marvel. Now, for this one, you need two things. One, I highly recommend that you have your Windwalkers. You don't have to have them, but I highly recommend that you have them. And then for the way that I'm going to do it, make sure that you have the Ancient Stone Sliver. You can use an Ancient Stone weapon if you want. If you can wield it and equip, and you're planning on having it equipped, you can do that. But again, I highly recommend the Ancient Stone Sliver because it's easier to use and it takes up less inventory space. Alright, so we're going to go through. We're going to go into the Room of Seven Doors North. This is the Room of Seven Doors, this is the north bit, and we're going to go back over here. Over here is a trapdoor, and a lot of times most of the time it should not be there and you won't be able to see it. You'll have to go into detect mode and then just walk around for a little bit until it pops up. I may or may not have done something smart and actually found it ahead of time, that way I didn't take up your time while trying to find it. And then you're going to go through and you're going to run down. Now, if you notice, this is a stupidly long corridor. I have no earthly idea what the reason is that it is so stupidly long. It is, and yeah, there you go. This is why your monk is, so that when you run into stuff like this, you can not have to spend as much time in it as other people. So there you go. Alright, so once we get in here, two things that you need to be aware of. One, every one of the folks in here have true seeing, so your invis potions are going to do you absolutely no good. And two, they all cast death magic, and they all use, and most of their spells will do mind affecting stuff, so be very careful that you go straight into the middle. And what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to touch him and then quickly do that and then do that. So you're going to hit him with your Ancient Stone Sliver, and then you're going to get wrecked by this guy apparently. That's okay, it's just annoying. I mean, I'm doing this at level 5, you're not supposed to be able to do this at level 5, but if you know what you're doing, you can. So like I said, you want to be very careful that you run straight up there. I was kind of off to the side, which is why that guy could see me, but if you run straight from the center, it won't be a big deal. But like you saw that I did, I went through and I used the Ancient Stone Sliver down here on him, and then I went through and used the boots on him. I used the lightning bolt just because it's yep. This is what I get. Cool, there we go. Once you go through and use the boots on him, no big deal. He'll die, because going through and using the Ancient Stone Sliver on an undead, which when you go through and touch the corpse, it turns him into an animated or an undead, and that is the same as using a harm on a normal creature, which reduces the total HP on that creature, or the total amount of active HP on that creature, to 1d4. So at most he'll have 4 HP. So you can go through and just punch him at that point. I find that typically there's one of these buggers that walks up and that guy. And just so you can see, he does have true seeing right there at the top. And I want you to come around. Right, and you want to grab absolutely everything here. All that stuff, mostly that key, and it gets very annoying very quickly. But again, I'm level 5, I'm not supposed to be able to do this, so that he can just one-shot me like that, not that big a deal. You can go through, and if you are a caster, you can go talk to the magic imbiber and get scroll of a scroll of greater sanctuary. If you're And then you can go through and either use that or cast it on a spell sequencer like the Key of Despair from Underworld, if you've gone through and gotten that. You can also go through and buy a heart sequencer if you have a character that is or level 20, or you have a rather large sum of gold, as in excess of 1 million, if I believe. The heart sequencer will cost you like 300,000, I want to say. Right, and let's see if I can just be a bit quicker. Right, now is the point where you just have to run fast and hope that you don't get hit with the death magic. Now, if you are not a monk, you can go through and use Marvel's armor, which has immunity to death magic on it. Right, now this is the part where you have to make sure you're not you're not dealing with any of those lads. So you need to come and you need to talk to the speaker that is closest to this gate right here. So if you go through gate one that's closest, run up to him and just talk. And you just spam one, no big deal, right there. Now, this is a point that I've referenced in another video. You should be able to go through here and then instantly go over to the plane of the Elder Kind. That's literally the first time in 7 characters that has worked. So that is what's supposed to happen. So I'm glad that what's supposed to happen is what was shown. I highly recommend that you have the portal rune beforehand, or that you just plan on dying and respawning. A lot of times I'll go through and it will say you do not have the ancient gate lock, or you do not have a key for this, and the gates will open but you can't go through the area transition. It's one of those things. I don't know why it happens. It happens often enough that I just don't plan on it ever working. But there you go. That's how you go through and you get a nice level, and you get the ancient gate lock quest right there done. And again, for the record, as long as you grab that key, the one that was on the second page, you don't have to grab anything else there. But so you can see, this is actually one of the times that I highly recommend that you, like the Wellkeeper, highly recommend that you go through and you grab all that loot. If you're running a fighter class especially, going through and killing the Wellkeeper and killing Marvel and grabbing all this gear is very, very lucrative. Whether you decide to sell it or decide to keep it, it's definitely worthwhile. And as far as money's concerned, I mean, you should have been able to get enough, and I've shown you enough loot caches in the different videos that money shouldn't be too much of an issue for you at this point. Right, so his boots are nice, they're not bad. I mean, Constitution +4 is not anything too shabby. Freedom is a nice bonus, but personally I prefer to be fast, so I'd always just sell his boots. There you go, 700 gold, no big deal. Longsword. This, very, very nice if you're a fighter just starting out. This is one of the better swords to have. I can't use it, so I'm also going to sell it. And right there, another 600 gold. Right, helmet. Marvel's helmet is one of the helmets that you'll keep and you'll use for a long time. I actually have had a couple of bards that were like level 40 and using it because it has mind affecting spells and it's free. I mean, it's hard to argue with free. So there's that bit, and then this is shield again. All of this, you get a nice bit of elemental resist. You get some AC bonus. It's a good shield. Again, I'm a monk, so I can't use it. You're gonna hear that a lot right there. 180 gold. Longbow again. Not a bad bow. It's certainly useful. But again, I'm a monk, can't use it, so there it goes. Noticing a trend. And then his armor. His armor is probably the thing that you're going to use the most because it has immunity to death magic as well as some damage resistance here and AC bonus. It's a good piece of armor. Like, this armor will go through and work for a while. So between all those different things, if you're a fighter or you're a sword swinger, whatever you want to call it, you're probably going to want Marvel's loot. At the very least, you're going to want the helmet, and you have to have that key. And keep in mind that key is on the second page, and that is what you need to be able to go through and run all the way back and open that gate. I'd go back and show you, but I'm just going to die very quickly because, again, I'm level 5, now level 6. I'm not supposed to be in that area, and if you're running it the way that I'm running it, which is just going through as quick and as simply as you can, yeah, you're not going to be able to just fight that area. Now, once you hit level 12, if you're a caster, you can use Undead to Death on everything in that area, and it's actually decent XP. I believe it's around 300. You can also go through and at a level lower than that, if you have the money for it, you can go to the Magic Imbiber and the sewer guy and buy a potion of, or buy a scroll of Undead to Death and use it that way. Also, if you're a rogue, that's another option for doing that area, because that scroll is not based on your stats, on your spellcraft or anything like that. It's based purely on what it is on that scroll. So on the plus side, it means that if you are below the level, or if you're, a non-caster, what your stats are irrelevant, and that's good for you. If you are an actual caster now, if you're of the appropriate level, I mean, use it yourself. You're gonna get much better results, and it's free. So there you go. That is going through and doing Marvel. No big deal, and that should hopefully get you guys a little bit further into getting all of the 12 dark secrets. Until next time, I'll see you all later, and yeah.